Hello, I'm Christina from the Professional Writing Academy, and I'm here with Dr. Daniel Soule, who's the course director of our Writing for Academic Publication course. Hi, Dan.
Hi, Christina.
Dan, imagine, it's quite hard, that I'm a career academic and I'm just starting out on my career. I know and I'm excited about being published, getting my work out to a wider audience. Why do I need a course in how to write? I know what I'm doing.
You might know what you're doing, or you might think you know what you're doing. Most people struggle with writing to some extent. They have experience of procrastination or problems of dealing with far too much data and thinking where to start. Most academics are used to getting rejected, and the number one reason you get rejected is lack of focus in the paper, and that happens across all disciplines. And so there's a lot you can learn about how to target and focus a journal, about the process of writing to make it more efficient. And also a lot of people don't actually enjoy writing, which is a major problem if you're going to spend a lot of your career writing. You're going to have a lot of time being miserable, and that's not an ideal situation either. So what we try and attend to in the series is how to write productively, but also to part of being productive is enjoying writing a lot more and having focused strategies for producing effective plans and dealing with large amounts of data and everything in between.
Okay, thanks. Do you think this will help speed up the writing process? Because you're right, basically. I'm not that keen on writing, although I enjoy the thinking. Will this help me to get more efficient at producing these papers?
Definitely. I mean, especially if you're early on in your career, my experience, a lot of what happens with people is they bring writing strategies across from undergraduate and masters that were successful at that level. But they're successful in doing very different types of writing tasks. Essentially, you're writing very short documents where someone has set the task for you, they've given you the question, they've framed the activity, and very often they've even given you the reading list or the core reading list, and they've given you a deadline with a sanction. All of these things are very helpful for you writing effectively. When you get to a kind of postgraduate and postdoctoral level, none of those things apply. There's no real deadline, not with any real sanction most of the time. The reading list might as well be infinite. There's no explicit framework by which you're assessed, and the texts are much longer. So even in a practical sense, like how most people produce plans on the back of an envelope with a list of subheadings and some bullet points underneath them, that's a very good little mnemonic if you're writing a 2,000-word essay. It's not particularly good if you're trying to write a 5,000 or 7,000 or 8,000-word research paper, where you have to design everything about the paper. Why is it relevant? What are you adding that's new? And it's maybe based on an absolutely enormous data set. So those kind of brief frameworks really aren't fit for purpose. And that would be one practical example about why the writing process becomes hard when you're probably your first time of being a truly creative writer, which a lot of academics don't think of themselves as creative writer. You have to produce everything. So.
Okay. All right, thank you. So not only will I get it done, but I'll enjoy it and I'll become more creative in the process. Is that what you're saying?
That's the ultimate aim, yes. Because one of the ways that I think about writing is it's a little bit like a game, and most of us play the game without knowing any of the rules. Now, some creative writers will balk at that, but essentially, I like this game as almost like a psychological trick. If you've never thought about how to write a fantastic first line for a research paper, or a fantastic last line, or what constitutes writing a really good paragraph, if you've never thought in that way, then you probably have never done it. You're like the monkey in the infinite monkey cage. It's possible you'll write Shakespeare. It's just highly unlikely. But in an infinite universe with infinite probabilities, it will happen at some point. But it's just not very likely. Whereas if you design an algorithm, or if you design the rules of a game, if you like, what four things constitute, in most instances, a good first sentence. How do they work? How does a first sentence relate to the title? How does the first sentence relate to the contribution of the paper? And so on and so forth. Once you start working out those dynamics, you can design how you play the game. Now, why that's useful is psychologically, even when you play the game badly, it's feedback. So you know how to fix it. It's not some kind of existential problem. Oh my God, I'm a terrible writer. I find introductions so hard to write. Everyone finds them hard to write. They're technical. Discussions are very hard to write. Most things are hard to write. But if you have a set of principles, then it can be a more enjoyable activity.
That's great, thank you. And feedback, of course, is what you get plenty of if you take Dan's course, Writing for Academic Publication. And you can find out more about that by visiting www.profwritingacademy.com. Thanks very much.